Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so we're talking Celtics next game 4, and that game is going to be in Brooklyn, New York tonight. And the Nets are down 0-3, which means if they don't win this game, they're going home. There's no two ways about it. KD has been rendered basically useless. Kyrie has not been efficient. Ben Simmons has not been seen. And the rest of the Brooklyn Nets can't seem to come together to play good team defense at all against this very, very talented and stifling defensive Boston Celtic juggernaut. My favorite to win the NBA championship as of right now, until further notice. But, honestly, I just look at this situation and I say the Nets have not shown me any reason to believe that they have figured out what they're dealing with. I've seen no evidence of them having any signs of hope against this team. You're talking about defensive, just devastation. You know what I mean? You're talking about the defensive player of the year, Marcus Smart, just hounding the heck out of Kyrie. You're seeing Jason Tatum, Robert Williams, now back from his injury. So you got to take that into account. Grant Williams hounding people defensively. Jaylen Brown playing amazing. I mean, Jason Tatum had 6 steals in the last game. What the heck are you going to do with him getting 6 steals on top of the 35 points? Listen, I know it's really, really, really one of those situations where we've listened and we've watched the legend of KD and the narratives surrounding KD and how unstoppable he's been makes it so that you think that's going to last forever. The reality is there's something called change in the league in terms of how defense is now back into the fold. Change in the body in terms of the injury that he sustained to his Achilles and a father time that does come around for everybody. And change in the circumstances. He's not playing Golden State anymore. He doesn't have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green around him. He's dealing with a more so traditional team, and he has to step up and be something that he's never proven he's been. And that's a guy who can lead with the bulk of the shoulders on his back while the rest of his team may not be Hall of Famers around him. It's the first time he's been in that situation, if you really consider it. In Golden State, obviously, and the Thunder as well. He's always had Hall of Famers around him. He's always had Harden or Westbrook or to hold down great deals of the situation. Steph Curry, obviously, as I said, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, to be an imposing figure around him to make him impossible to beat. Now, we believe he could be impossible to beat anyway, but he understood himself. He knew he's a slight guy, and he needed to be surrounded by guys who could take pressure off of him, and he also liked beautiful basketball, and he wanted to be a part of something that couldn't be stopped. And I commend them for that because they did some incredible things. Maybe the greatest team ever assembled. But at the end of the day, he left that place. And he went to a situation where the franchise has struggled. The front office has not been accused of making the greatest decisions over the years. They have not drafted the greatest. He went there because he was going to try to team up with a few of his brothers, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, which would take up the bulk of the cap. And they could just fill in with whomever, and that would be the focus. It wouldn't be relying upon them, in theory, to wait on the Nets brass to surround them with a certain type of team that would make them great, because in theory they were supposed to be able to come together and be overwhelming no matter what. And so when that went left, because of all the things we already know about what happened, Kyrie Irving and James Harden decided to leave, blah, blah, blah. Now we find ourselves in a situation where they're in the playoffs. They've traded for a disgruntled guy because that is who, the best value they could find for James Harden. James Harden wanted to go to Philly, so that was the only way they could do it. They bring back Ben Simmons. He's not ready to play. For all of the reasons we already know, we don't discuss those either. So in the playoffs, they don't have everything that they need just because of the circumstances he happened to find himself in. They're running up against a team that doesn't have any of those issues. Boston Celtic team has put everything together that they needed to compete for a championship. Who are in a arms race with the Los Angeles Lakers, a two-man race that only those two teams understand. trying to be the top of the mountain and trying to continue to stay ahead of the Lakers as we've tied them 2 years ago. They're going after the championship, and they have what they need to go get it. And the Nets are a team that's in the way. There really isn't any competition for them, to be honest with you. They're rolling over this team like they're supposed to, as the 2 seed facing the 7 seed. That's the reality of the situation. Could the Nets come out and get lucky tonight? Maybe Bruce Brown goes off. Maybe KD has one of those legendary nights. I don't think the Celtics will allow that. I don't think the story is about the Nets at all. It's about the Celtics being the best team in the league right now, trying to get themselves a championship. Not necessarily about what's going wrong with Kyrie and what's going wrong with KD and all that. That is narrative stuff. Every team has their issues. Every team finds themselves in their circumstances, and their story leads up to whatever. We've just focused on the Nets. We've just focused on the Lakers. We're not focusing on the Celtics, and they're playing fantastic basketball. Since they made that trade for Derek Wright and brought back Daniel Tice, they found themselves in a position to be overwhelmingly deep, overwhelmingly defensive, and capable of putting up 130 points against anybody. And the Nets are struggling to find players on their bench that can contribute. Just simply contribute. They gave Blake Griffin 8 minutes. He played fantastic in the last game, but he wasn't able to really do more than that because his conditioning is so poor. He's an older guy, and they're relying upon a lot of players that can't really help them, just like the Lakers did, as they both built with 3 max contracts. 3 max contracts attached to players that, quite frankly, were not reliable. For whatever set of reasons, good or bad. Couldn't build around players that didn't have a strong foundation and strong bodies that could withstand 82 games plus playoffs. They need to be focused, and they need to be healthy. And those 2 teams, they decided to build on different ideas about how to win a championship. Things that didn't translate to X's and O's and depth and strategy and defense and all that. They were trying to get a bag, to be honest with you. Both of those teams were trying to maximize their opportunities of getting dollars by putting together these stars, slapping a bunch of whoever behind them and saying, yeah, they're just going to bull toward the finals. No, they're not. And the reality of that truth is playing out as we see it. They didn't come prepared because they didn't build their team to win. They built their team to make money, to create narratives. But see, that worked in the past when people weren't playing defense. When every other night you go play Charlotte, they didn't have nobody. You go play Toronto, they didn't have anybody. And you go play Washington, they didn't have anybody. Those days are over with. Now all of those teams have players in place that play defense that are looking to make a name for themselves, and they don't care where they play. So now there's not a lot of off nights for a guy like KD to get a win and not play with the best players around him. He can't win by himself in a league where people are playing defense and physicality is back and the whistles aren't being blown as much and all these different things. It's a different league, and it's changed quickly. And the team that they were building was meant to possibly win a championship maybe in yesterday's league, when half the teams weren't any good. But not in today's league, where even the bad teams have some of the best players of tomorrow. So the Nets, who are going without Kyrie for his set of reasons and going without James Harden playing well because he was going through what he was going through, they didn't build their team to sustain what it is that was coming at them. They didn't make the changes necessary to their team to assure that they were ready. They brought in Blake Griffin. For whatever set of reasons, he's unreliable. And we know that. So here we are. This is what it is. The Nets didn't build for sustainability. Not in the short term, anyway. So, in the short term, they face 0-3 deficits against a very good team that's prepared against them. And that's exactly what's going to happen tonight. They're going to get blown out tonight. I don't even think they're going to be in this game. I think that team was cooked in the last one. Kevin Durant attempted 11 shots in that game. That team's cooked. Period. He can come out and score 40 if they allow him to, which they shouldn't. Because the game plan's working. Just keep bumping him. He ain't going to do nothing. Why? Because he don't have anybody to pass to. It's Bruce Brown, Kyrie Irving, who went 0 for 7 for 3. Kyrie's conditioning is not where it needs to be, respectfully, because he's doing something spiritually that is making it so that he's not able to nourish himself properly, and he don't play enough defense, and he doesn't have enough girth to withstand that and the issues that team has. He can't go for 60 and 70 and all that without players around him to help him do it in the first place. But now that he's dealing with what he's dealing with, it takes even more energy to get that done, and it's just not there. And that's just what it is. Nope, that's a controversial thing to say. I respect what he's doing. I don't think he shouldn't do it. It's just what, again, when we talk about Kyrie's decisions, it's just about what comes with those decisions. You know, he wanted to stand up for those who were getting their jobs taken away from them. You know what I mean? That's what his plan was. That's what he was doing. Even though the media ain't going to tell you that. Hey, he told us, yo, my mindset is this. I see people getting fired because they refuse to take the vax, blah, blah, blah. I want to stand for those people, so I'm not taking the vax, standing against my employer in the name of what they're doing. That comes with something. He has to pay a cost for that. You see what I'm saying? Never mind if you're behind him or not, he has to pay a price for that. That don't come for free. What does that cost? The continuity. The basketball team. James Harden. KD being able to succeed in what it is that he was trying to accomplish here. All these different things. People feeling let down, the media having all this fuel to fire on his name and further the narrative about what it is that he's shown in his decisions to not be reliable to the teams that he's played for. The Nets are living with the reflection of Kyrie's choices, KD's choices, James Harden's choices, and ultimately Sean Marks' choices. They are where they are, man. The Lakers and the Nets have proven to us that if you don't catch up to the times, they will pass you by. The Lakers and the Nets were still playing checkers rather. While the rest of the NBA was playing chess, they playing checkers. You can have all my picks. Bring me yesterday's stars. Please, bring me that star, and that star. Take all the picks. We'll build. How are you going to build? You going to G League? Nope. Give me yesterday's dude over here. Give me that guy who can't play anymore. Give me that guy who can't play anymore. It doesn't matter because I got these stars. We're going to run. Doesn't work. It does not work. You need depth. You need youth. And you need to understand when it's time to sit them $200 million guys down and play the youth so they can keep up with the other youth that you're going up against. Because the $200 million guys, they've been running around for the last 10 years and they're tired. They got injuries that they've been dealing with for years that they've been able to get over and handle, but now they got these youngsters coming at them with fresh legs and twice as strong. They can't handle it. They keep coming. It's more depth in the league. So even when them dudes sit down, they got some more coming on the game. They got a guard. That wasn't the league they was dealing with. It's changed on them. They're not able to gracefully decline because they're getting hit with athletes. New ones, smart ones, strong ones. That's what happened. That's what's going on. That is exactly what's happening. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart. It's happening. Those guys have been in the league for a couple years now. They've been lifting weights and working on the game for like 7 years now. Yeah, they're all in their prime. Coming at you at the same time. Good luck. Nets are going home. ain't no two ways about that. They don't play any defense. Celtics do. They're struggling to score. Celtics don't. It's a blowout. Period. Ain't nothing to talk about. Bruce Brown's going to play well, I expect, because he's going to get open looks. Patty Mills, respectfully, done. I saw him play well just several months ago. I get it. But you can't trust that he's going to do that when you need him to. It's just going to happen spontaneously. Ooh, Patty Mills has 30 points. Great. What is he going to have in the next game? 6. That's the problem. He refused to play LaMarcus Aldridge, even though I know they're going to leave him open to hit jumpers all day. He's one of the best jump shooters ever, but Steve Nash don't want to play him. He can't play defense. No one else can on the team either. Look around. The guys he's playing can't play D either. Only guy on that team that's really playing D is Claxton and Bruce Brown. That's about it. Those are their defenders. They're too small. They're too old. A lot of their players don't even play anymore. So their bench is small. The guys they're relying upon may or may not be developed fully yet. KD. He's left to face the defenses that have been plotting against him all this time. That haven't had any success against him because he could pass a Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And Russell Westbrook was flashing at the basket, dunking on people every 5 minutes. These are things that he benefited from that allowed you to mask his deficiencies as a small, slight guy who could be pushed around, who could have always been pushed around, but was never on a team where he was left alone. Nah, you see what I'm saying? So, that is what it is. KD has been masking his deficiencies by finding himself in impossible two-guard situations, and that is no longer there to mask his deficiencies. So, he's getting pushed, and it's going to continue. So, Nets are going home tonight. I don't expect this to be any type of upset. I don't expect the Celtics to let their foot off the gas. I listened to what Ime Udoka was saying. He said he's the guy that doesn't feel something's done until it's done. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but that was what I read. So, needless to say, they're coming in with a certain mindset. I don't expect the Celtics to slip. It ain't even about if KD or Kyrie are gonna go off. I don't expect the Celtics to slip. That's what it's about. They're in control. They're focused. They're on a mission. And this team is not very good that they're going up against. So they should blow them out. And anything other than that is them taking their foot off the gas, as to which they would be questioned in regards to them being legitimate. And I don't think they want anybody questioned about whether or not they're legitimate, because they were not the favorites to begin with. You understand what I'm saying? The Nets are going home. Unless they figure something out schematically. Maybe Drummond goes off for 20-20. Hey, that could help. Maybe you can get like 30 from Dragic. Something like that can happen in a single basketball game. But as far as them winning this series or coming back doing something heroic, they're going to need players to get plucked from the Celtics in order for that to happen. That's what needs to take place for the Nets to get back into the series. They're going to need Jason Tatum to get out of there. They're going to need Jaylen Brown to get out of there. They're going to need Marcus Smart to be removed. They need Robert Williams to go sit back down. They need Grant Williams to sit down. You see what I'm saying? All of those players would need to be removed. I'm not talking about just one or two. I'm talking about that. That's what needs to happen. They need the defense that the Celtics play to stop, so that KD can have a breath to shoot some jumpers, and then Kyrie can start dancing again and not be bumped around. That stuff is not going to happen. So, I don't know. They need an unsung hero to come out of nowhere. Again, they've neutralized KD, so any thought of him going off for 70, I just can't envision. I don't see it. He has to overcome what he's not able to, basically. So, that's how I see it, man. Ain't a whole lot more to say. I've been talking longer than I probably should about this lost and disappointing series. It's a testament to the greatness that is the Boston Celtics at this moment. And, they should not drop the ball tonight against the depleted and probably ready to go to Cancun Brooklyn Nets. That team's cooked, man. I'm telling you, I don't think they even have any fight in them. I expect this to be a very, very bad game tonight. But I'm welcome to being wrong. I've been wrong a lot lately. So, hey, let's roll. Let's see what happens. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. My name is BDF44, and of course, I'll come at you with the others as well. Peace.